Welcome to the first episode of Discussting. And I'm joined today by one of our favourite corporate and commercial associates from the South African diaspora. Mr. Cullen Gorge, welcome. Well, today we are going to talk a little bit about investment, from seed all the way through to exit. Let's jump right in.
Round one.
Right, here we go. Drink number one. Thank you, lovely waiter. Would you like to have a quick look, Cullen?
Not really.
Now this is called guilty verdict.
Why does it smell so bad? It tastes like fish. No, it's coated my mouth. Spam coating. And there's like a little chunk over there as well.
There is a little chunklet there. Well, can I ask you a question? What would you say, as a legal founder, what are the most important steps you should take when incorporating a new business?
Get someone else to make your tea. Most important steps when incorporating your business, probably a name. Do you want a serious answer? Okay,
yes.
So the most important steps, I'd say, is figuring out shareholder relationships, I would say, more than anything else, because it's the biggest question we get as to either how to fix it or how to properly set it up. You want to get shareholders, their original founder shareholders, their shares before your company gets any real traction, any real value, both for tax reasons and just for efficiency's sake. So I'd probably say make sure you have a pretty good plan as to who's coming in as a co-founder along with you. One of the many elements to consider, but probably the most important.
You can have a sip if you want.
No.
Round two.
So this is called Alimony Aid. What we'd like you to do here is we'd like you, like a traditional tequila shot, to bite into the bourbon biscuit, which is there, take a little sip of your lemon juice, and also with a little sprinkle on your hand of that onion powder there.
Onion
powder. Lick that off. It looked too good to be true, didn't it, until you heard about the mayonnaise and the onion powder.
Chin chin. Actually, the lemon's quite nice.
There you go, just take the edge off with the onion powder.
That's not.
So, differences between a seed and a Series A round. Talk me through.
Sorry. Really, the aftertaste is substantial. It's not really a legal distinction between the two. It really comes down to something that frames the kind of maturity and growth of your business. So it helps people to understand where you are from a funding round perspective. So an investor's coming in, they know if you say you are pre-seed, seed, Series A, they can get an idea of how advanced or mature your company is. And they will be able to identify, are you pre-revenue, are you post-revenue, do you have an MVP, do you have a running product? And it helps to kind of lay the foundation of how to negotiate and structure any sort of funding rounds. That's, at least from our perspective, the main fundamental elements.
Round three.
This is called breach of taste. Oh my. So in many respects it is sort of a breakfast treat. I think you've got to tilt and go. Give it a little slurp. Okay, question for you. As you slurp away.
I've got to get the condensed milk in there.
What is a term sheet and why should founders take it seriously?
Okay. I'm actually nervous. Hold on. What is a term sheet?
What's a term sheet?
That is so insanely gross. A term sheet is a very important document. Usually at the beginning of an investment round, the investors are going to set out the terms that they're willing to invest on. A lot of people overlook that just like breakfast, and how important it can be as the first meal of the day. Why it's important is because, like I mentioned, it sets out the main terms of your investment round. Now, a lot of founders get really excited by the idea of getting a term sheet, which means their investment round is actually going somewhere, which is great, but it means that most of the time they will very happily sign whatever's there. And that means there are certain terms that are being proposed that we can't really negotiate against. It's not that a term sheet is binding, it's that it's just essentially agreed that this is what's going to be in the documents. No one's going to enforce those terms against the new business specifically, but it's pretty bad faith to then go against that entirely when negotiating your long form document. So it's really important that you get some advice at an early stage, even if it's just a quick once over on the document, just to make sure you're not agreeing to really sketchy terms up front, essentially.
Understood. Would you like to have a little teeny little slurp? Jalapeno maybe?
I would like to not ever see that again.
Round 4.
I wish this day was over. I wish this day was over.
Right. Okay, so before you open your eyes, I'm going to tell you the name of the drink.
Okay.
It's called Fish-ecution, which I think is a play on execution. Thanks, ChatGPT.
Why is it white? It smells really good.
Does it?
No. Mm-mm. Oh, it's all one whole fish. Okay.
It is a whole fish, yes. My question is, once founders have raised their investment round, what other corporate things do you see them tripping over? When you have a little swig.
Cheers.
His smile was one of those rare smiles that you may come across 4 or 5 times in life.
It's so fishy.
Don't let the tail give you a little tickle.
Ah. Other than the scaliness, it's quite tasty.
I saw the tail just
Yeah,
give you a
just,
little tickle on the moustache.
Yeah. Well.
Ooh, he's going in again. Crikey, it's a hit.
Oh, the second one gets you. The second one really gets you. There's 2 elements to that, I would say. So one, it's related to admin. So a lot of the time, a lot of the administrative elements aren't really looked after very well.
Yeah.
So things like funding round is done, so filing your company's house documentation, your confirmation statements, your annual accounts on time. It has a pretty big impact on outsiders looking in when they look at a company to assess its eligibility for further investment. Obviously, you want everything to be up to date. And that makes quite a big difference to future investment as well. Yeah, it's a strong smell. It's distracting. It is distracting.
I think it's on your breath.
It will be forever. Yeah. The other element is co-founder relationships, I think, because a lot of the times everyone starts off a relationship, obviously on very good terms, but it's really important to ensure that you have proper protections for all co-founders in place when it comes to things like reverse vesting and proper service agreements, everything in place so that if someone wants to walk away, you have a proper mechanism on how to treat their shares. Or, worst case scenario, someone is to be dismissed for any particular reason, there's also a mechanism on how to treat their shares. So these elements are things that pop up a lot post fundraising. The milk is really, really getting me.
Soothing.
Yeah, it's probably too late to say I'm lactose intolerant.
Right.
That is
Thank you.
wild.
Round 5.
All right. Drink number 5, the finale. Now, Cullen, this is called Basil-less Claims. I think that's rather nice looking.
It's nice.
So, what advice would you give to founders who are preparing for an investment or an exit?
Why is it in a pot plant? Good question. Right, let's do this.
Oh,
God save the Queen. King. I really don't like basil, Tom.
have a little nibble of the sausage as well.
Oof. Is it meant to be peppery?
Maybe. Right. Let's talk law, Cullen. What would you advise founders? They're getting ready for their investment. What are you going to tell them?
Oh, it's so gross. I need a second, it's so nasty. Obviously, when you're going through an investment or an exit, due diligence is key. Your investors or purchasers going to do due diligence on the company. Do I have a lot of green in my teeth?
Yes.
Okay. It's preparing your documentation in advance. Obviously, you're going to have things like supplier contracts, employment contracts, details of everything that your business has been doing in the past. But certain elements a lot of people forget about is ensuring that you've actually and accurately tracked the record and changes in your share capital. So there's an obligation on companies to have statutory books in place. These include share registers. It logs everything from who transfers shares, when, and how. Investors and purchasers are going to go through that with a fine-tooth comb to be sure that what you've presented to them from a share capital perspective is accurate. And a lot of people don't keep those books up to date. Even if it's a statutory requirement, they just don't do it because it's admin, it falls by the wayside.
Yep.
So it is important because it's a legal requirement, and two, it is an accurate representation of how you got to your current position. And it's one of the main things that people come to us with, where we have to then troll back through years and years of resolutions and documents to figure out exactly what's happened with their share capital so we can update the books accordingly. So if you do it from day one, like everything, very easy. But when you're getting very close to a transaction like that, it can cause a lot of stress.
Totally.
So that would be one of my main things to look at. Obviously, keep a record of everything else in terms of your contracts, everything you enter into. But it's one of the things that are most overlooked.
Love it.
Founders Law, we're here to help you.